On this episode of Horror Timelines, I've got my computer back, so hopefully the green screen looks a little bit better. I'm really excited about this. I know it's a holiday. We're going to kick off the 4th of July weekend with a special video set on the 4th of July weekend. That's right, we're talking about the I Know What You Did Last Summer series. This one is surprising because I don't even think that there's a lot of people out there that know that there was a part 3 of this series. So we're going to find out how it's connected to the others, if it's connected to the others. And, I think it'd be pretty interesting. I know what I did last summer, which was go out a lot more than I have this one so far, instead of staying inside. And, what am I even talking about this stuff for? I should be getting to the continuity. I mean, what am I waiting for? What am I waiting for? The summer season kicks off back in 1997, just 1 year after Scream changed the horror world, with a screenplay by Kevin Williamson as well, and kicks off with the sweet, sweet sounds of the late Pete Steele. It's the 4th of July, and the Buffster is here, as is the guy that played her brother and lover, and the guy that actually is her lover. Oh, and the Ghost Whisperer, Sonya Blade, and Leonard are here too. While driving home, Ray runs over a guy, and they become convinced that they'd go to jail. Even though that Ray was sober, and the guy was in the middle of the road, in the middle of the night. I guess there needs to be a movie. Barry's registration sticker expires sometime in 1998, so if this is July 4th, that means that this is probably 1998. They decide to just dump the guy's body in the water, but he's not really dead yet. Knowing this, they don't save him or anything, and they leave him there. So to be clear, these kids are assholes. We cut to 1 year later, so 1999, and Julie gets a letter saying, it's coming up on the 4th of July again, and they've concluded that the man was David Egan, whose body the police found in the water. Max is the first to die, even though he had nothing to do with the accident. There's really no reason for the killer to come at him, but I guess someone needed to die and they didn't want to off any main characters yet. Our killer is in a fisherman's jacket and hat and carries around a big old hook. Looking up info on David, they find a bunch of articles, one of which says that his fiancée died 2 summers ago, and then we see his obituary stating that he died in 1997, which makes the current year 1998. And the beginning was in 1997, and that sticker is just really in advance. And Susie would have died back in 1996. Also, his obituary says that he was 28 when he died, and that he was in the Southport High School class of 1992, which that means that he was 23 years old when he graduated high school. Dude was just really, really held back. Ellen's ex pops in, and Julie's registration also expires in December of 1998, so I guess those stickers just last longer here. And wait a minute, here's Max's dead body. Here's how he died. Fun fact, I'm guessing that this mistake is probably due to the fact that they added the whole hook to the jaw thing afterwards. This was supposed to be a rather bloodless movie, and the violence was amped up later in some reshoots, so I'm gonna guess that the body finding scene was shot before they did the whole hook in the jaw thing. Barry dies, Helen dies, and the killer is revealed to be Susie's dad, Ben, who killed David. So see guys, the man that they ran over and then proceeded to try to murder was a killer after all. So they're not such bad people. Ben's hand gets removed and he falls in the water, and we cut to 1 year later, so the ending is 1999 now, but it looks like someone still knows. So the very next year, we got a return with 1998's I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And Julie's back, and she says it was 1 year ago. So this is right after the ending of the last one, and it's 1999. Once again, near the 4th of July. Ray's back, and Brandy's here, as is the zombie baby's dad. And wait, is this kid's name Will Benson? And the killer's name is Ben Willis? The girls win a radio contest for a free trip, and it looks like Ben's back, although I don't know why he's wearing the rain slicker if he is not trying to hide his identity anymore. So, Julie, Carla, Tyrell, and Mr. My Name Is So Close to the Killer's Name, but pay no attention to that, go to the Bahamas for the long weekend at this resort where there's plenty of people all over. I should point out that Ray doesn't go because he's attacked and in a coma, but Julie still goes because she doesn't know. To reiterate, no one told her that her boyfriend was in the hospital and in a coma. Jack Black is here, playing Jack Black with dreadlocks for, I guess, an extra acting challenge, and Dr. Herbert West pops in, as is Moses from the clock tower. And then suddenly, like, every single person on the island is gone, somehow. I guess Ben is also here too, and he reprograms a karaoke screen? Is that even possible? That it's not like those things are, like, live typed in there. They're hard coded on a CD or a file, so for this to have happened, it would have had to have been done way in advance, and the killer would have to know exactly which song that Julie would pick. Ben, or maybe not Ben, starts to kill anyone on the island, and let me get this straight. Ben Willis, crazed killer, decided instead of just killing the 2 people he wanted revenge on, puts one of them in a coma, and then follows the other one of them to a tropical island instead of just, like, waiting for her to come home. I mean, she's only there for the weekend. Luckily, the resort he follows her to is inexplicably empty and full of people that are all coincidentally creepy and possibly crazy themselves. He then kills a bunch of random people that have nothing whatsoever to do with his revenge because I have no idea why he does all of this, actually. Then, in the dumbest plot twist of all time, the radio contest was fake, and Ben set the whole thing up just to get Julie there. Not Julie and Ray, just Julie, because he purposely stopped Ray from going, and instead of just killing Julie, he faked a radio contest, which I guess no one figured out. Like no one told them that they didn't hear anything about it on the station from their friends, and then buys her and her friends ticket to an island resort. As if that makes any sense. To a resort that I guess he used to work at, and where his daughter and wife are buried, although at least Susie's grave says 1996, so, I mean, they got that right. But Julie's says 1998, so Ben has no sense of dates, because this has to be 1999, but then again, I guess he doesn't really understand time, because he's still saying, I still know what you did last summer, and hey, it's now 2 summers ago, you dummy. The cast numbers dwindle, and oh no, Will is revealed to be secretly Ben Willis's son that no one knew about or heard about, and there was no record of before, and he, I guess, enrolled in this college specifically to get revenge against these people. This is just the most ridiculous storyline in all of history. Ray shows up on the island, and Will gets stabbed, and Julie shoots Ben like a bunch, and then it's sometime later, and Julie and Ray are married, and it can't decide if it's day or night, and then Ben's back, so I guess it's most likely a dream, and then that's over. It took a while for another entry, but in 2006 we saw I Will Always Know What You Did Last Summer, which features no returning cast members. These kids tell the story of the fisherman saying every 4th of July he stalks teenagers and then pull a prank that sees their friend get killed, so they cover up their involvement. We cut to 1 year later, and PJ's tombstone shows his death as July 4th, 2005, so that would place us in '06 now, and instead of letters, these kids get text messages as warning, because 2000s. Hook Hand starts attacking people in hard-to-get places, like how did he get on this ski lift? The body count begins, and they go through a bunch of news articles referring to the first 2 movies, and the killer shrugs off a couple of shotgun shots and is run over, but none of that kills him because he's... I hope you're ready for this. Zombie Ben Willis. He's now played by a former Michael Myers, and Amber says that he's the guy from 10 years ago, and well, I mean, she's a little bit off on that, but she's probably just approximating. They have this big showdown with the now supernatural villain, although apparently his own hook can kill him, and he's thrown into a snowblower to boot. We then go to 1 year later, and Ben appears behind her, so I guess his spirit lives on, although the franchise stopped here. So there you have it. It's 3 movies with a rather interesting storyline. The continuity actually works for the most part. There's a couple of things that are off a little bit, but they're pretty explainable as to why they're off. So it does make sense in terms of a continuity standpoint. Nothing else about this series makes sense. The first movie, I think, didn't age as well as some of the other movies from that era. It feels a lot more simplistic and kind of dated. It doesn't have the fun genre meta bit that Scream had, so it just feels a little bit more of a standard 90s slasher flick. It's not terrible, but it all hinges upon the really absurd notion that the kids thought that they were going to go to jail, so they decide to kill a guy, which kind of makes it hard to root for any of them. Even if they regret it, it's still hard to root for any of them, except maybe Sarah Michelle Gellar, who should have been the final girl, and was not. They gave that to Jennifer Love Hewitt instead, but I'm on Team Buffy, so that was a rather tragic mistake to make. The second movie, if you have not seen it, is probably one of the funniest films of all time. It's probably the most ridiculous sequel. It is definitely in that category of so bad that it is genuinely entertaining. Not a single thing happens in that movie where you're just not like, what? So you should check it out just for the sheer ridiculousness of it. And then the third one is very generic. They obviously wanted to try and keep the series going without the whole murder mystery element, and then kind of do what Jason did and kind of go with the whole supernatural. He's a zombie ghost now, I guess. It just doesn't work, and the film itself comes off as very bland and dull. I don't really remember much about it at this particular point. I'm glad that I took notes while I was watching it, because if I had to recall anything that happened in it from memory, I don't think I could do it. So all 3 of these movies none of them are that great, but they're all enjoyable. None of them are terrible. They're not unwatchable. The second one is terrible, but it's a very watchable kind of terrible. So watch it, check it out. It's kind of fun. That's about it. That's about all I have to say about these. Let me know what you thought of them down below. Let me know what comments you have or suggestions you have for other episodes. And check out all the series that I have. Check out the new Dead Last series that's going to be coming out very, very, very soon. Here, probably, hopefully by next week, we'll have the first episode of Dead Last live to go. Check out the patrons over here. These guys are hoping to support the channel, so they keep this going, and they keep me in good supply. I've got a new ring light to help lighting up the green screen a little bit better. I've got the microphone over here, all thanks to the patrons, so thank you guys for that. And I will see you very shortly for another great video. Thanks, guys. Bye.